Without further ado, I am going to would like to introduce the chair of the board, John Lee Evans. John, take it away.
Thank you very much, Carla. Again, I would also like to welcome everybody to Peace Corps Connect 2024. This is actually going to be the last time that we do it online. We look forward to seeing everybody in person next summer in Washington, D.C. at American University. You'll hear more about that later. As Carla said, I'm John Lee Evans. I've been the board chair of NPCA for the last 2 years. I'm RPCV from Honduras. And my day job is as a clinical psychologist coming to you from San Diego, California. All of us have, or most of us have, lifelong connections with the countries where we served. And one thing that happened this year, I worked with a couple of students who were in the university when I was in Honduras many years ago. And one time when I went back, I heard that one of those young guys, Cornelio, had immigrated to the United States and maybe to New York or somewhere. I didn't really hear any more about it. But this year, through the miracles of social media and the internet, his kids did some sleuthing and found me in California. And he got in touch with me and told me he had basically immigrated to the United States, worked 2 jobs, went to community college, raised a family. His kids are doing very well. And now he became a U.S. citizen. And now he is actually interested in finding out more information about joining the Peace Corps itself. So it's this amazing story coming full circle. So we have connections with our countries of service, but we also have connections with each other, other RPCVs, regardless of what country they served in. And besides advocating for the Peace Corps, which Representative Garamendi spoke about very well, we also, our other part of our core mission is to build a strong network of RPCVs, which includes support for affiliate groups. We're doing all kinds of good work. In terms of advocacy, we're going to hear a little bit later about Protect the Peace Corps. I think we realize when there's a lot of talk about isolationism that we really need to keep addressing issues on an international level. So we'll be talking more about how we can support the Peace Corps and also how you can support NPCA in supporting the Peace Corps. So now we can kind of look forward here to, if we can show the slide with the board, our current board of directors. We have a very diverse group that is on our board in terms of geography, in terms of age, ethnicity, religions, political affiliation, just a really great group of people, a working board, and we will be telling you more about these people later on. And we also had a recent election, and we have elected 5 people in the current to the current board, which you will see on the next slide. 2 of the people were reelected, which is Nell Todd, our governance chair, and also Christina Owens, the affiliate group committee chair. So those 2 people are added onto our board. And if we could see the next slide, it will show the other, I guess maybe it's not there right now. So I will, here we are. There's Nell and Christina. And our other 3 new members are Babila Lima, who has served in, as an RPCV from Mongolia, and also another RPCV from Mongolia, Marika Stevenson, as well as Kate Bongonas, who is an RPCV from Ecuador, who isn't able to join us today because it is currently 3 a.m. where she is in Japan, but she'll be joining us for the quarterly meeting this year. So at this point, we're going to hear a little bit of information from our committee chairs. It's just going to be very brief highlights that they're going to give us. And first of all, I will turn it over to Nell Todd, who's going to talk about the results of the reform of the bylaws.
Great. Thank you, John. And hello, everyone. I'm Nell. I was a volunteer in Ghana in the late 90s. I think I saw at least one other person from Ghana, I think, who served right after me. So nice to see you on the Zoom. I'm thrilled to be connected to this group. As John said, I joined last year. Even though I served quite some time ago, I think about the Peace Corps daily, and I use it in my job all the time. So wonderful to be here. I too want to welcome the new board members, and I also want to thank all of those who ran, and I want to thank all of you who voted. It's such an important process, and I want to make sure that we continue to have more and more nominations throughout the years, and always encourage everyone to vote, because it does make sure that we are truly representing Peace Corps across not just the United States, but there are returned Peace Corps volunteers all over the world. So thank you for that. As John said, I want to make sure that we give you a quick update on a couple things that the governance committee has worked on. Specifically, we have gone through a revision of our bylaws. Many of you voted for the 2 motions that we presented to the community. So I think the first slide is a summary of the first motion, which I will go through. So if you could put up the chart. So motion 1 was to approve the changes to the bylaws. For those of you who weren't familiar with the changes, there were sort of 3 main ones. One is we wanted to make sure that we were aligning our bylaws to governance best practices with other nonprofits. We also wanted to make sure that we were elevating the role of the affiliate group. And we wanted to make sure that we are changing the at-large elections. So instead of them being geography-based, we've taken off that requirement. So that motion passed with 95%. So thank you all for that. The second motion shifts, if you want to put up the second motion moves the responsibility for updating these bylaws to the board of directors. It used to be through this whole community. So again, thank you for approving both of these motions and for taking the time to give us feedback. It'll be so helpful for the governance committee as we move forward. So with that, I will hand it over to Mike.
Good afternoon, everyone, and I am Mike Roman. 24 years ago this month, I began my journey into the Peace Corps as an education volunteer in the nation of Kiribati, and I have since been an Kiribati, not by blood, but by love, something I'm sure all of us can relate to. Today, I want to share with you the exciting steps of the National Peace Corps Association is taking to promote diversity, equity, and inclusion. This initiative is about reshaping the culture within the Peace Corps community and extending it to our partners worldwide. NPCA empowers the Peace Corps volunteers, past and present, to advocate for global peace and prosperity. To embody this mission, every voice must be heard and valued, regardless of race, gender, sexual orientation, nationality, socioeconomic background, or ability. Historically, Peace Corps volunteers have been predominantly from specific demographics, but we know that diverse perspectives and inclusive environments are critical to solving complex global challenges. That's why NPCA has strongly emphasized DEI, recognizing that diversity is our strength and inclusion is our path to unity. We continue to enhance our diversity each year and eagerly anticipate that being represented on our new board as our new members join the crew. The NPCA's DEI initiatives has clear goals to increase representation, equity and opportunity, and create an inclusive culture. Initiatives and actions are some of the things that I want to talk about next. We created a DEI standing committee. NPCA has established this, and it's made up of staff, board, and community members to advocate and advance representation, programs, and structures, and ensure our practices are equitable and inclusive. Community partnerships. We intend to collaborate with affiliate groups to expand our outreach to diverse populations. Inclusive storytelling. We highlight the stories of volunteers and underrepresented backgrounds to show the vast array of experiences within Peace Corps, given visibility to voices that haven't always been amplified. As far as current progress, so far we have seen many positive steps forward. The NPCA has increased representation within leadership roles and our DEI committee has made several key recommendations that are now being implemented. We also look forward to forming new partnerships through the Matching Grants Program that will broaden our recruitment pipeline, allowing us to reach historically underrepresented communities in the Peace Corps. In conclusion, the NPCA's commitment to DEI is not just a one-time effort, it's an ongoing journey, and we aim to create a Peace Corps community that truly reflects the diversity of the world we serve. By fostering inclusivity, we can empower volunteers to make an even more significant impact locally and globally. Thank you for your time. And now to my good friend, Jim Baldwin, for a quick overview of the organization's financials. Off to you, Jim.
Yeah, love that, Mike. Really appreciate it. Yeah, good afternoon, RPCVs. Yeah, it's good to be here again. This is my second year doing this little presentation. Yeah, as Mike mentioned, I'm Jim Baldwin, the board treasurer. And I sit here just outside of Chicago, where my day job is a CFO of Chicago's largest nonprofit human services agency. But most importantly, I'm an RPCV from Azerbaijan from 2010 to 2012. And really, just a few minutes here just to give a brief snapshot on just NPCA's financial health. So if we kind of fast forward, I've just got a few slides just to kind of show that. What's in front of your eyes right now on the screen is a snippet of our current audit. The date's on top, so this is our balance sheet, for at the end of last year and the year before. Really, I kind of highlighted in the orange there of what the telling story is. Because the past few years, NPCA, wasn't in the best financial health, but in that last calendar year, as you can see, a negative number turning into a positive number, things turn around into much nicer pastures. It wasn't the easiest thing to do, but credit to new leadership for trying to get NPCA financials back on track. And as we flip to this next page, here's kind of the situation right now into our current year. As you from the slide before, right, we kind of got things positive, but we're a little behind in this current year. It was a balanced budget that rolled out, but contributions, are lagging a bit. So as we sit here today, we're a little behind. As you can see, the very bottom left of a slight deficit position of $179,000. It's not the end of the world. Usually there's some timing. It's very cyclical at NPCA, where end of the year donations is the biggest time. But not to underscore, right, everyone's support would be very welcome, as even on a year-by-year basis, we're behind as far as the typically of what contributions come in for NPCA. And just on the last slide, just going to touch on some just big themes in case you're wondering. That first bullet, yeah, things have been turned around, but we sure don't want to lose momentum. So keep those contributions rolling in. Things have been nice. We've kind of like upgrades the past couple of years, even a third-party outside firm to do NPCA's books to kind of keep things on the straight and narrow. In green, nice little highlight, even through all that, some nice upgrades made in a CRM or customer relationship management system. It's nice just to try and keep all the RPCVs together into one system. It's actually pretty hard to do with all the groups. But those upgrades, very important to kind of keep things moving well. And that's kind of about it. So they're kind of like the big takeaway, if you listen to nothing else, NPCA on stable footing, but we want to keep the momentum going and kind of keep moving forward. And with that, yeah, I believe, yeah, maybe as not of a nice as a handoff as Mike gave me, but I think this is going back to John, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, good looking picture, John. Baton back to you.
Okay. Thank you, Jim. So as you can see, we have a working board. We've heard from governance and finance and the DEI committees. A couple other committees are fundraising, of which Jeffrey Janis is the chair. I just want to say that in terms of fundraising, the board itself is very involved. All the members of the board are also Shriver Circle donors at this point. But we'll hear more about fundraising when we hear from the staff side. And then another committee that we'll hear from later is about the Standing Committee for Affiliate Groups. We've elevated the role of committees, we've elevated the role of affiliate groups in NPCA. Before it was simply an advisory committee. Now it's actually a standing committee of NPCA, of the board. And so it consists of board directors elected by the members, as well as affiliate group leaders. So we'll be hearing more about that later in the day. So we have a pretty large board, and we have a very small staff to carry out our mission of building an RPCV and affiliate network and advocating for the Peace Corps. And heading up that effort is our president and CEO, Dan Baker, who will be taking over now.
Thank you very much, John. Great job with the board. And I do need to recognize, I know it's already been done, but we would not be where we are today without the NPCA Board of Directors. This is very much a working board. And as you see in the slides, they outnumber, I'm going to go to the next slide, by the way. The board outnumbers, no, back one. The board outnumbers the staff by a factor of 2. We have, thanks to the board, I think we have a very strong direction. Financial security is ensured and monitored. It is a very well-funded, potentially well-funded organization and well-governed, thanks to the board, and increasingly a diverse network that we're supporting, and that is, again, many thanks to the board's leadership. But we also have a very strong staff, and now you can go to the next slide. Small but mighty. I think a lot of these faces are familiar to many of you. We are going to hear from a few of these individuals today. You've already heard from Carla, and I do need to just land on her new position for a moment. Carla joined the team 6 months ago as really the external face for many of you of National Peace Corps Association. You heard from her. She has a very long and great experience managing international programs in a senior leadership role, and she's providing a lot of the support that we need, and indeed we're missing since Ann Baker's departure a couple of years ago. And I also want to welcome to our team this year, Travis Matthews, and you'll see Travis a lot in the chat today. Thank you, Travis, for providing some discussion prompts. Travis joined in March also as our development manager, and has put into place an infrastructure, a platform for the future of NPCA. I think it's no small feat what he's done in the last 6 months. Very impressed by these 2 new hires, and really pleased with the entire team right now. I won't go through everybody. We can go on to the next slide. I wanted to start with just a reflection from this week. And as we all know, Wednesday was 9/11, the 23rd anniversary of the attacks in New York and Washington. And I reflect on where I was in 2001. Here's a picture of me, and as I began my 3rd year in Bolivia. And this was one of the most profound moments of my Peace Corps service. And it really opened up a lot of realizations for me at the moment. And just a quick story here. I was walking to work. I was in my 3rd year helping to manage the Peace Corps office in the city of Sucre. If you've been there, beautiful morning, walking through the White City, it's called. with terracotta roofs and passing people amiably on the street until I got to the office, where I was greeted by my coworker, Bolivian coworker who had a great relationship with Ignacio, Nacho Duarte. And Ignacio welcomed me to the office, and there was a look in his eyes, and he told me something terrible has happened. Algo terrible sucedió en tu país. And he was listening to the radio, and I walked in just in time to hear about the second plane hitting the World Trade Center. We spent the next couple of days trying to contact all of the Peace Corps volunteers in the rural Chuquisaca region of Bolivia. Ignacio Nacho went on his personal motorcycle overnight to a volunteer that we couldn't reach, who was from New York. We didn't know from New York City, who we couldn't contact, to let her know what happened so she could contact her family. Arrived in the middle of the night after contacting her. And for the next couple of days, as I walked around the streets and reflected, we all remember this. My experience is not unique, by the way. Many thousands of us have these shared experiences, Peace Corps volunteers, but I had never felt a sense of a connection with people in Bolivia. Everyone knew what had happened. Everyone neighbors who I'd never met were coming up to me and extending friendship and condolences. I didn't know anyone, wasn't directly impacted by 9/11. No one I knew was affected, but the feeling of support and friendship and camaraderie that I felt in those days was really powerful. I felt for the first time a real sense of pride that I hadn't felt before for Peace Corps and democracy and I guess you could call it a sense of patriotism. And I felt like this for the first time. I was a good volunteer, but I was really feeling like what I was doing in that moment was important. And it was those things that, as I was reflecting this week, I was like, this really is what we are. These takeaways from 9/11 for me in Bolivia are what we're still trying to do at NPCA. So if you advance, Orrin. Why NPCA? NPCA for me, and I think for many of us, is increasingly the platform for the global Peace Corps network. With nearly 45 years of experience, we are helping to unite a voice of many hundreds of groups and initiatives, of which we are supportive, to a network of greater opportunities. And every one of these initiatives wants to connect to the larger Peace Corps community. It's a network that could be so much greater. It's great already, but it could be so much greater with a strong NPCA. And that's, for me, the bottom line. The core mission of NPCA is uniting a vibrant community. And indeed, that's our mission. But for me, and again, coming back to my takeaways from my Peace Corps service on 9/11, our first mission, our first pillar for what NPCA exists to do is to champion peace and friendship on the hills and the halls of Congress, and to provide Peace Corps not only with the financial resources, but the legislative tools and the feedback and the opportunity to grow and improve. And that, I know, is what many of you think of. By the way, I would love to see in the chat as we go through these, and when you think of NPCA and what its potential and possibility is, what are a couple of words that you think of when you think of what the value of NPCA is or could be? I'd love to reflect back on this after the meeting and see what you all put into the chat. So the other, again, the 9/11 takeaway was we were building bridges when the rest of the world was, or the rest of our government was not, in the wake of 9/11. And this really was a source of pride for me at the time, and remains a sense of pride for me today, that NPCA exists to build bridges for diverse partnerships and common causes. We'll talk more today about our affiliate group network, and when we talk about the impact of our collective community, first thing that comes to mind we'll talk about is some of our groups. Promoting service is, and my takeaway again was, I felt like what I was doing was meaningful, and something clicked for me that day, 23 years ago, that even after 2 years of service, this is my life. This is something that and again, not unique. This is something that I needed to devote the rest of my life to, is service, building friendships, and providing opportunities, and supporting people who are trying to make a difference in the world, especially supporting RPCVs. These takeaways for me represent the 3 pillars of NPCA. John is already echoing what John said, and this is essentially the outline, the framework for what we're talking about today. You've already heard about our strong organizational foundation. We could be much stronger with more financial resources. We have plans to do that. We need to diversify, but we absolutely need your support to build this network. So let's go on to the next slide. I'll just touch quickly on a couple of things, and then I would like for you to hear from the rest of the team. And I would like to land here. The network that works for you is really what we're doubling down on. This is the message that we are giving to would-be and current and returning Peace Corps volunteers. The NPCA is a network that you can be a part of. We provide essentially a support network for you when you return. This is an important message for people who are considering what value Peace Corps will have for them in the rest of their lives. What support will they have when they come back? And for us to exist and to be strong, we provide that network. The plan is to develop and build on the foundation that we've put in place with our new database tools, to create an online platform that will be world-class and offer the abilities to network seamlessly. And we're happy to engage with anybody interested in it as we move forward with those plans. So thank you. We are a network that works for you. Next. We will hear from a Peace Corps recruiter today, a senior Peace Corps recruiter, Amy, and she will talk about the Each One Reach One campaign. I did want to say it's not hard. When Amy comes on, Jonathan and I and our intern Cynthia, you see in the picture there, this was just from 6 days ago, held a booth in Tacoma Park, Maryland. We had 100 or more visitors over the course of a few hours. It wasn't that hard to get a booth at a festival, to print out some copies of some materials. If you want some copies of Worldview, if you want some ideas, we're happy to share it with you. At a minimum, if you look at the back page of your last issue of Worldview, there's a poster that you can cut out. And that's what's represented on the left side of your screen there. Look for this Worldview cover, flip it over on the back, cut it out, put it in your local post office, put it somewhere public so that people can see and just have that idea of Peace Corps somewhere public. That's I think the least that we can ask of everyone, but we will also challenge you to actually recruit one person, and Amy will be talking more about that later. Next. So just to land quickly, for the affiliate group network, the meeting will begin, our annual affiliate group network meeting will begin approximately 4:30. We'll see how we're doing on time. Hopefully we can start it a little earlier, but stay tuned. I did want to highlight for a moment, though, these are the represented on your screen here are the affiliate groups who are, you don't have to be have served in a specific country or be from a specific area to be a part of these. These are groups that are looking for anybody and everybody who served in Peace Corps. Many are looking for anybody, regardless of whether or not you're an RPCV, to get involved. We'll hear from the museum a little bit later, and then the Women of Peace Corps Legacy. Always happy to have them participating in our events. There are a number of ways to get involved and very impactful ways to make a difference in our world and to help support the Peace Corps and remind everyone that Peace Corps is a important American institution. Next. Outside of these affiliate groups, NPCA has great partnerships with some external partner organizations, many of whom you see there are household names. I want to call out in particular ACDI VOCA, and with whom we have a farmer to farmer program. This is a USAID subaward that is we are just getting into this year, and we're building upon, but already we've placed a few farmers in Central Asia. Ava Sundgrens is helping to lead that program on our team. We also have a partnership with IREX, where we're helping with essentially a kind of a reverse Peace Corps. Leaders from different regions of the United States come through IREX exchange programs, usually State Department programs, and we have a State Department subaward there to support leaders coming from many Peace Corps countries. And we're helping IREX identify as much as we can opportunities for internships and host families while these global leaders are visiting the United States.